Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Scandinavian Photo webinar. My name is Susanne Holm. I'm B2B account manager at Scandinavian Photo, and I'm already overwhelmed by the amazing response we've gotten before even starting, with people joining us from all over the world. This is very, very fantastic, and I wish all of you a very warm welcome. Behind me, you see our flagship store in Stockholm at Vasagatan. We at Scandinavian Photo also have shops in Norway and in Denmark, and we are online in Finland. Briefly about us, as I'm sure you know, we are a leading company in Scandinavia for everything within photo, video, and sound. But of course, you're not here to listen to me today. So without further ado, I would like to introduce you to the man of the hour, Sony photographer Kalle Flodin. Welcome to join us, Kalle.
Hi guys, you can probably hear me and see me in a few seconds while the image is, yay, there we are. Hi guys.
Welcome, Kalle.
Thank you so much. And I'll take over from here, I guess. Just some pointers I can see the chat is just rolling constantly, which is very nice. If you have a specific question for me that you would like me to bring up during the webinar, just post it in the Q&A function that is below the my picture. It should be there at least. So then I see the questions more organized in that sense, because this is a webinar I want to shape together with you that is actually watching it, because there's no point in me just rambling on if I'm going in a direction you don't want to hear. So if you have specific questions, please post them in the Q&A function and I will see them over there. I guess just gonna take a sip of my tea before my throat gets too dry. It's always fun doing these webinars, but it's also kind of nervous because it feels like going on a date with 124 people at the same time. But I'm very happy you're here. Today, we're going to talk filmmaking. We're going to talk storytelling, how I film my videos. We're going to talk music and sound design, how I started my photo and video journey. So yeah, I think we'll start from there. If you're new to me and have never seen my YouTube videos or me on Instagram or whatever, my name is Kalle Flodin and I live in this cabin in the middle of the forest here in Sweden. I've moved here 3 years ago now. And I started being active on YouTube 1.5 years ago. And since then I went from, I think it was the summer of 2020, I had 650 subscribers on YouTube, and then 4 months later or something, I had 70,000, and now it's past 119 almost, I think now. So the journey has been quite explosive and very fun at the same time. But instead of talking how I'm filming, I'm going to show you a clip of one of my movies I did this summer when we were celebrating Midsummer here in Sweden, so you can at least see the style I'm filming in. So you can get an idea. I'm just going to post that up here so you can see my screen. And then write in the chat if it's too loud or if it's too low with the volume, so I know. Okay, let's see. Share screen, then go to Midsummer thingy, and then share, and then press play. I'm going to stop it right there and see what, because you guys are saying there is no audio. There was a lot of people writing in the beginning that was perfect audio, nice volume, but then all of a sudden there was no volume. maybe it's too laggy or something. It worked fine before. You should change screen. Might this be the problem? It's sorted out now. From your mic, it's perfect. Okay, good to know that. But the volume from the movie was a bit laggy, I think. I sound perfect. Good to know. But you know what? If it's too laggy, it's not that important to watch. You can also watch it on my YouTube channel. But I just wanted to show you a few clips at least, so you get the sense of what I'm sharing and what I'm talking about. Now we should see, let's see. Are we back to seeing me now? That should be fine, I think. I can see there's some questions popping into the Q&A. So I'm going to go into those a bit later, but I'm just going to start by, instead of just showing that clip, also talk about my journey, how I started making movies, because I've never gone to any film school or anything. I just learned by myself and hang out with the right kind of people, I guess, and then staying curious. So I just brought up my old cameras with me here so I can show you where it actually started. I had some other cameras when I was like early teenager as well. But this, when I started using these ones that I have right here, is that's when I started to take filmmaking a bit more seriously. And I thought it was more than just a hobby, I think. So I started with this camera, like a Sony action camera. Let's see if we can focus. Yeah, there we go. I don't know if it's mirrored for you, but you can at least see it. It's like a small action camera that I put on my, I put it on my longboard. I put it on my on a harness and on my chest when I was running. Very much a action camera. So I used that for, I don't know, 2 years or something. And I thought that was the most amazing camera ever. I'm never going to change, and I'm never going to go up to something that is like bigger than that and clumsier, because I thought it was so convenient, just having something this small that I can have in my pocket, basically. But then I started seeing limitations in what I can do with the camera, like at nighttime maybe, or in low light scenarios. So then I went up to this bad boy. See if you can see that one. It's the Sony RX105. I think there is a, let's see if you can see this properly. Yeah, this is the version 5, and I think there is actually a version 7 now, if I'm not remembering completely wrong. And I had that action camera, or that compact camera, for like another 2 or 3 years, I think, and really enjoyed it. I remember I talked to my friend and contact at Sony that, like, I'm never gonna buy a camera that you had to switch lenses and stuff. It's so inconvenient. I can never go anywhere. I'm so limited. And then I tried one of those cameras, and I completely changed my mind. And the camera I'm working with today is this one. It's a bit bigger, a bit heavier, to say the least. So this is the Sony A7S III. With a very big lens of 28 to 135 millimeters. So this is my main camera that I shoot almost all my YouTube videos with. And then I have been kindly enough been borrowing this lens that you're watching right now from my friend at Sony called Dennis. So this is a wide angle lens. I can just show you the difference. This is quite zoomed in, as you see me right now, and a very long arm. But this is the wide angle that I can get. And now I'm sitting, I don't know, half a meter from the camera or something. So I can show the whole cabin. You can even see my bottle down here. So that's quite convenient to have. And I honestly don't want to give the lens back to Dennis. I just want to keep this one. But that is like how my journey started when it came to filmmaking, like the gear I went through and the development. And you can, of course, start making videos with like these ones or your smartphone, because they are so good today. So never feel limited by gear in that sense. I think the more important thing to focus on is storytelling. We're going to get into that a bit later. I just want to check your questions to see if we have some good ones. The long ones. I answer a quick one from Javier. What drone are you using in your movie? I have the DJI Mavic Pro 2. And a lot of like extra batteries and fly more kits and stuff, because the battery is lasting about what is it, 25 minutes or something, and not that long when it comes to winter because the batteries get so cold and then just drains really, really fast. But that's the drone I use. How can I sort these ones? Answer live. Can I press this one? Okay, done. Perfect. That was very convenient. And a lot of you I can see in the chat as well are asking about the editing software I use, and that's Adobe Premiere Pro. I'm using that for everything, and I'm using Adobe Audition for my podcast, and I'm using Lightroom for editing photos and stuff. So the whole Adobe library, that's what I'm focusing on when I'm doing my movies and pictures and thumbnails and everything. I'm just going to jump over to my notes here so I have everything lined up nicely. That was the cameras. I thought I would, as the next step, I would talk about how I use the camera to actually develop my channel and also my filmmaking skills at the same time, so to speak. Because when I started my YouTube channel, as I told you, it was 600 something subscribers, which is still 600 people, which is amazing. But it went to 70,000 in quite a short of time. And it was not just random. Of course, it was lucky that it got picked up in that sense, but I don't believe that it's something that the viral videos is just lucky. It is something that people want to see, otherwise it doesn't get traffic. So I spent months and months and months planning my videos. I also spent months and months and months researching YouTube, like what is working on YouTube and what do I think is fun to do. How can I improve my skill, not just my filmmaking? How can I improve my storytelling? So I did a lot of research, and I still do every day, talking to friends and family, colleagues on YouTube. My agency, talked with them a lot to bounce ideas back and forth when it comes to pictures or movies ideas, basically. But the techniques I use to grow on YouTube, one of the biggest one I would say is actually becoming more of myself on screen, because my first videos were more, how to phrase this, like very cinematic and not that much personality into it. It was like pretty to look at, but it was not that, you didn't connect to me as a person because I was mainly behind the camera telling a story. And that's nothing wrong with that if you don't want to be on camera, but I wanted to connect to the audience in a more personal and direct way. So when I started integrating myself and my weird dad humor in the videos, that actually worked so well because people could see that I was really screwing up with my English and I was messing up and I had bloopers in there and I just became a person. And I think that's a very important thing to add to your videos, like add you, because if it's something unique that you're going to do with your filmmaking, that one thing that people can't take from you, then that's you. Like you are truly unique. So use yourself, but you know what I mean. I think that's really, really important. So I started using my weird humor and I added bloopers, as I told you, and I tried to stay as honest to myself as I could. That was a very, very high priority for me when I started making videos. And I could see that also worked on YouTube really, really well. But it's also very hard to be your own filmmaker sometimes. So I don't think that people understand how much time it goes into just filming these videos. It might look very peaceful when I'm walking up to the roof and renovating some stuff, or if I'm cutting the lawn or whatever it may be. But there's always me walking out with the camera, putting a tripod, adjusting the ISO, adjusting the aperture, adjusting the white balance, everything, and then putting myself into the shot, using my phone as a separate monitor, and then going back and forth trying it, and then hitting record, and then doing it a few times, and then putting into the editing software and start from there. But I'm always filming stuff I'm doing in real life, but it's a very, me and Christina, my girlfriend, that also lives here, but she's out with the dogs right now, because if they were here, that would be total chaos. But me and Christina talk a lot about this, that there's a big difference between filming a cozy evening and having a cozy evening. Because if you're going to have a cozy evening, then cameras can be a part of it. But if you're going to film it, then you have to stage it a bit. You have to put up extra lighting like this one. It's like all we do on the cameras are our real life, but we have to do it a bit of extra Yeah, I think you know what I mean. Everything is real, but you have to put in some extra time, so to speak. And I think it's also important when you film yourself, as we do, to differentiate what is actually your private life and then what is going online, and then learning also where to cut it off. That's all not always as easy. Just gonna take a bit of more tea. Maybe you guys are drinking something as well. Alcoholic free, I'm hoping, not if it's in the morning for some guys and then in the afternoon for some others. Okay, it's not tea, but it's water, warm water with honey. So my throat to get a bit moist, if that's a good word for it. Before we jump on to my next point that I was gonna bring up. Yeah, okay, tea, coffee, tea from me, eating breakfast. Okay, it's a different time zones. Here the sun is already almost down. So, okay, I'm gonna take some questions from the Q&A function. Let's see. Just have to scroll a bit and read it. Kind of sharp. Okay, we have one from Patrick Hughes that is asking about color grading. How do you incorporate that into your editing process, and what system do you use? Yeah, when I'm filming my videos, I shoot in a profile that is called S-Log. That is picture profile 8 on this camera. So it's a very, very flat image. It doesn't pick up on screen. It doesn't show that much colors and contrast. But what that does is that you can bring out more colors and contrast in the editing. And that's what Patrick is asking about. So when I record my videos and you see them on YouTube, you might just think that that's the color that just comes with the camera. But the reality, I spend almost for every video, I spend at least 6 hours per video for just color grading. And I do everything in Adobe as well, because you asked about what kind of editing process I use and what system. So I'm in Adobe and using that. I'm still learning very much, and I'm not perfect at it at all. But I think it's very fun to learn, but it's a bit tricky still. And then we do one more question before I move on with my not to-do list, but my checklist at least. Nick is asking if you can watch it later, this webinar. Yeah, you can totally do that. Scandinavian Photo is uploading the video to their YouTube channel, so you can go there. And then we take a last one. Sorry, I have to read this live as well. We've answered that. We've answered that. Johan, Julia. Okay, Julia we have here. I know she has also she's a filmmaker as well, and very curious, good person from my community. She's asking, I'd love to hear about how to shoot manual mode for beginners. That's a big topic. You need to start experimenting, I think. I learned a lot from just watching YouTube, like Peter McKinnon or Peter Lindgren here from Sweden, and just try. Because if you're staying in auto, yeah, that's such a safe zone, and it's nothing wrong with being in auto. But the problem is you're never going to learn what your camera can actually do. I was terrified the first time I did my first client jobs with manual, because I didn't really know what I was doing. I'm still, again, learning my camera because I haven't gone to a specific film school or anything. I'm just learning as it goes. And that might be perfect all the time, but it's still my way of doing it. And I think the way you're going to learn a lot is actually trying it and then failing, trying again, failing, and partner up with another person or take a course or yeah, just try it. That's my actual best advice. And I think there is a guy on YouTube called Who Is Matt, like whoismatt.com, I think his website is. He does a lot of wedding photographies and stuff, and really good Sony shooter as well. He uses the same camera as I do, Sony A7S III. And he goes into such a deep, nerdy space. So he talks a lot about the settings. Julia, I would recommend you going there. He knows it actually way better than I do. Okay, next item on my list. We talked about showing yourself on camera, talking to the camera as it was a friend. But one really big thing when I'm making my movies is way before you start and hitting record, then you should think of who is this video targeting and who is it for? Because if you don't have that made decided from the very, very beginning before you start shooting, it's not going to be a good video. It's more, I'm losing my voice. Hang on, a bit more tea maybe. Okay, here we go. So who is the video targeting and who is it for? Think about that before you start every video you're ever making. It doesn't need to be a client. It doesn't need to be a YouTube video. It can be a video you're making for just home use or whatever. But always have that in mind, because if you don't have who the video is for, that's not going to reach the right audience as well. So really think about who is it for and where is it going. One thing I'm also very, very particular with when it comes to specifically YouTube is to have the thumbnail, and that's the small picture you have that is placed on YouTube before you actually click the video, the small miniature picture. So I have that planned and I have the title ready before I even start shooting, because that's how I know a lot of big studios shoot as well. We had a bunch of creators had a discussion or talk with Mr. Beast a few weeks ago, and he told us that they actually go into a conference room and brainstorm ideas based on titles and thumbnails. So they have, is this video clickable enough? And then they create the video based on that. So they're actually creating the whole clickable thing first, and then they're creating the story and what that could include. It could be like escaping from an FBI agent. That could be one title. And then okay, how could that thumbnail look to that title? So they're working a bit backwards, but it's always super important to think about thumbnail and title as well. Because if you're not reaching the right people you want to, then the video is not going to be seen by the right audience, as I told you before. So really think about that. And I'm reading a book right now that I can highly recommend that is called Hit Makers. And they are talking a lot about what is making a song pop. Why is this song popular, and why is this painting over here, why is that popular, what is this kind of style and clothing popular right now, and it goes into trends and what focuses on what us as people are like. Why are we making these kind of songs popular? It doesn't need to be songs, it could be art, it could be music, clothing, or whatever. But it's interesting to think about that. It's almost always comes down to that you recognize something in that you've seen before. That's why I do kind of the similar thumbnails for my videos. I have me and I have the cabin, or me or a dog, something that you can instantly recognize. Yeah, that is a Kalle Flodin video. So that's very much on purpose to have a specific style. It doesn't always work, but that's at least a way of approaching it, at least from my point of view. I'm not an expert in this, but I have at least done it for, it is my full-time living. So I know what I'm talking about in that sense, but it is always much more to learn. Some people asked about the book, Hit Makers. I have it back in the shelf somewhere. Oh, okay. I think someone can maybe, exactly. Hit Makers, the science of popularity in the age of distraction. That's the one. But we're not here to have a book club. We're here to talk filmmaking and storytelling. That book is a really good tip. So I'm going to jump back to some of the questions. Johan Salén, which I'm guessing is a Swedish person. I have the same lens, 28 to 135. What lens cap are you using? Because I don't really have one, and I like that lens cap. Funny story, I have not have a lens cap for this camera for 2.5 years, and I bought it last week from Scandinavian. It's a 95 millimeter one. So just search lens cap 95 millimeters on Scandinavian Photos website, and you will find it. So I've been very afraid of damaging this lens for 2.5 years, and now I'm finally protecting it. So yeah, I hope that answers your question, and I hope you find the right one. So 95 millimeters is the one you should have. Let's see. Then we have from Leva, or I'm sorry if I'm butchering some of the names. I probably are, but I'm trying my best. Leva is asking, what kind of mic and adapter do you use to voice over your videos? You're actually watching that right now. This is the Shure SM7B, and then like a simple mic stand. But usually when I do my voiceovers, I actually disconnect it from the mic stand and then look another way. Because if I look at my screen while I'm recording, I get so self-aware and I'm reading too much of a script. I just like a few degrees that way and talking to the camera that way. And then in that way, I'm more relaxed as well. I'm using SM7B from Shure, and then I'm not sure if I can show you this. Hang on. That's too short. It's a red, how do you say that in English? Ljudkort, you say in Sweden. External audio interface, maybe that's the word. From Focusrite, Charlotte, maybe. Hang on. Yeah, Scarlett 2-in-2. So you can probably Google that one. It's a very common one. So that's the one I use. And for when it comes to audio from my videos, like the real life audio when I'm talking to the camera, I use this microphone. It's a Rode, or a Rode, as non-English speaking people are saying, Video Mic Pro. Also bought that on Scandinavian. You can just find it in their web shop. But I love that microphone. The only thing I had a hard time with and learning it the hard way in the beginning, you need to put your phone in flight mode because it's picking up that and like interference. So that's really good to know, because I screwed up a lot of interviews and stuff having like, digital interference. So yeah. Mario is saying you can lift weights with that camera. Yeah, the funny thing is now I'm using this lens to vlog with. This is the wide lens that is 12 to 24 millimeters, but I've only borrowed that one for a week or two, something, from Sony. And this one is the only one I've been vlogging with for, let's see if I can show you guys this. This is a bit funny, actually. I have to make this a bit wider, like that maybe. So this is how I'm filming all my videos up till last week almost. This straight out like this, and it's hard for me to explain how heavy this is. So I almost have to do every take in like 1 or 2 tries, because then my arm gets too tired and then it starts dripping and I have to really push myself. So buying a more wide angle lens like this one, I can highly recommend, because having such a heavy camera is, it's really, really tricky. It's lovely and I love to use it, but as a vlogging camera, I prefer this one. It's a very long arm I'm getting, like that maybe. Okay, we'll do another question as well. Now I put this one. So, answer that one, done. Yes. Patrick, I've already answered your color grading stuff. I have some what do you call it, LUTs, but I actually got them from a friend of mine, so actually not sure what they're called. But I didn't use LUTs my first year or 1.5. But yeah, I don't have a specific way of color grading. I just go by my eye and then some scopes in Adobe Premiere Pro to get a good idea what I'm looking at. Let's see. Okay, then we have from Kim Svensson. Sometimes I do short video content for smaller companies. How should one think when showing stories? The longest are 1 minute about a company who they are. They always want to start with, we started in, no. Should one focus on the people? My best idea there, what I've done with because I've filmed a lot of client videos as well before I did YouTube. And what I did was that I always focused on the story behind the company, because if people believe and are attracted to the story, they will also buy the products. That is just how we work as people. So if you can, like, of course, it's a good way of starting, as you said, like we started in 1940, but if you only have 1 minute, you need to pack a lot of stuff in there. So be sure to use how to say this in a nice way without offending anyone. Pick a person. It doesn't always need to be the CEO. of the company, even though that's the person that they always want to show. But I learned that sometimes going to the factory floor and interviewing like a normal person that is actually working in the company, that brings a better story than actually asking the CEO, in my opinion. And then it's not a stiff person that has like a suit on and looks very important. More people are actually relating to the person on the floor working a normal 9 to 5. So I would say something like that. Try to find like a good story in the company and try to tell something new. I hope that's answer your question a bit at least. Let's see if we have some other ones. We have from Love. Oh, this is tricky to pronounce. Love Howell. Do you use additional lighting? And yeah, I can happily proclaim, or how you want to phrase it, that I have my first lamp ever. I got it 4 days ago. So it's absolutely brand new. I never used studio lighting before, but it's getting really dark here in the cabin now in wintertime. So I needed something to light up the cabin and light up me, because I'm starting to do more live streams on my channel when we're getting a bit more better internet connection in a month or two. So I use additional lighting, and this is the Nanlite Forza 60B. And so I can adjust the white balance as well. And this is only it's standing, what can it be? A bit over a meter from me right now, like 45 degrees and a bit up. And this is only at 15% or something. So it has a softbox and then I haven't learned what that it's called. Diffusion, like a white in front of the whole thing. So yeah, now I can probably say that I have my first light, but I used to have only enormous, like not enormous, but this big of a construction light before. I've used that for 2 years now. And the problem is that it's extremely bright and there's no white balance at all. So I had to actually put up one of my gray sweaters. I took that over the big lamp, so that will be like a bit of a diffusion that makes the image a bit softer. And then either have to point it at the wall, so it bounced, not the wall, the ceiling. So it bounced from the ceiling and then down to me, or bounced on a wall to me or a window to me, because if it was directly on me, I became just pale. So having this softbox is just heaven. Like I'm so enjoying it. It took me a while to actually get the courage to buy something like this, because I feel so professional when I have actual lighting. But I can highly recommend it if you want to do something that has a bit more professional touch, and it doesn't need to cost that much. I can highly recommend this one, Nanlite Forza 60B. It was not that expensive actually. Okay, let's go back to my checklist, and then we'll do some more questions after that. Hope that's okay. Or you can't even say no because I can't hear you, but yeah, you know what I mean. I'm gonna check these things that I've already done here. We've talked about that. We talked about that. Who is it for? We can talk about this a bit, like how I'm actually filming my videos in the form of. Hang on, now my checklist disappeared like that. How I'm filming my videos in the technique I use, so to say. As I told you before, I'm using the 28 to 135 the most. And when I'm doing talking heads, which is this big, basically me talking into a camera, I'm using the 12 to 24 millimeters. But the technique I use when it comes to filming, it's because what a lot of people do, what I've seen at least when you begin, and I did the exact same thing in the beginning, is having the same distance to the object all the time. And it gets really boring to look at. So I would recommend, and what I do with every video, first we talked about who is this video for, who is it, who's gonna watch it, and then based from that I write something that is called a shot list, and that is not the order I'm gonna shoot it in, but what I need to get for this movie to work out. And sometimes when I'm in the editing, I'm still seeing that okay, I'm missing some shots and I need to get out and get that. I'm in that situation right now. I thought I filmed everything for my new YouTube video, but realized that no, I'm missing a lot of clips, and it has rained now for 3 days, so I need to wait a bit more. But actually having a shot list, having the video planned out before we even start is so important. So what I meant with like planning the shots, it's like, it could be basically, say that me and Christina here in the cabin are filming a breakfast scene. Then I need something that is called a location shot, like where are we? So maybe then I take a drone shot over the forest and then panning down to the cabin. Then people understand, oh, okay, they're in the cabin. And then, because if I go directly into the cabin, that's the first shot. People that haven't seen my channel before has no idea where they are, basically. Like, okay, this is a cabin, where are we? But if you give them a location shot, or maybe it's called establishing shot. Never mind, it's not important. You just tell the people where you are. A wide shot that gives a lot of information. And then you can jump into a wide shot, maybe in the cabin, like maybe I'm having right now, but me not looking in the camera, doing something else. But then start to mix your shots, like have a really, I don't know, like a really close-up of that become really bad, but now it's focusing, like a close-up of a teacup smoking a bit, and then going back to more medium shots, like mixing wide shots with medium shots and then close-ups. Because if you're having medium shots that most people just do, it's super boring to look at. You need something to go back and forth in between, because otherwise it's going to be so static. You're filming yourself standing in the kitchen the same distance. You're filming yourself eating the breakfast same distance. It's not fun to look at if you're not like mom and dad or the person who has filmed it, because then, you know, parents always look at the things you do. At least mine do. I know my dad is even here in the chat somewhere. So so that is one thing to really consider. Having a specific shot list before you start, writing down all the ideas you have. You don't have to film everything you're putting down to the list, but I usually sort out my shot list in, this is what I need to have for the movie to work. And then a few rows down, I write something that I want to have. Like, this is a bonus. I don't need that extra drone shot maybe, but it would really add something to the movie. But I will still survive without it. But I can't survive, or the movie doesn't make sense if I don't have the shot of, say, me and my friend Niklas going up to the roof and started to work on the renovation here, because then I need, you know what I mean? I need, some shots are need and some shots are want, and make a decision before you go out filming, what do I actually need to make this work? Because if you're unlucky, maybe you have a tight deadline, or you don't have the possibility to film again, then you need to get everything you can in that same shot or shoot. Okay, that's one thing I really do think about. And then we jump over to Kim Svensson is saying, can someone just please write the name of the lamp? I can do it if someone else can't. None light Forza B, 60B, Forza 60. I'm not extremely sure about the spelling, but that's the name at least. Hope you can find it. Okay, let's do some questions. I'm not. Okay, we don't need to answer that. That was just about the quality before. It was lagging a bit. And some are asking about Lowy, are asking about how do you get the aerial shot view? I'm guessing you mean the drone shots, and that is filmed with DJI Mavic Pro 2. Next one, maybe from let's see, Philip. I bought equipment for making podcasts and sharing photography and videos. Your inspiration as Jonna, Christina, of course, and others. Thank you. My main language is French. My English speaking could be difficult to understand. What do you suggest for reaching people to other languages? Could I join other platforms? I'm continuing to improve my English. Language could be an obstacle. Language pronunciation is not easy for me. You know what? That is something that is really important to talk about. If you feel like something going over to English is something you want to do, I'm going to tell you a story, because I did my whole channel on Swedish before. All my videos, my blog, even my podcast was on Swedish. And I was too insecure to actually switch over to English because I felt I was too bad at it and I didn't know how to pronunciate things. I got so nervous in front of the camera. But then I actually went and visited Jonna. We recorded a podcast together. This was 3 years ago, almost now, I think, 2.5 or 3 years ago. So we sat at their dinner table and we were just talking after the podcast. And I said just like a sidetrack that I had thought about switching over to English, but I don't know how and I don't know when and everything like that. And she was like, she almost raised from the table. I was like, of course you should do it in English. It doesn't matter if you're hesitant or can't pronounce everything. And she was completely right. That opened up the whole new world to me. And you said you were a bit insecure about the language and the pronunciation and stuff. Don't worry about that because people are there to watch you. And if you have a spelling mistake or an error when you're pronouncing something, you hear me right now. I'm not perfect at English at all. I'm screwing up all the time. But that is you. And this is how I'm talking. I am from Sweden, so I can't have perfect American or perfect English. That's fine. I actually think that adds almost kind of a niche to myself. If I have a bit of a Swedish accent on it, that's almost makes it even more exotic. And you should have was it French? Yeah, your French accent in it. Don't hide that. Try to actually do that to your thing. So yeah, that's my best advice. If you dare, do it on English because you have a way bigger audience. Mic drop. Nika Ota is not Otto. Nika Otto. What would you recommend for sound? A good mic setup for beginner, or could be done with the in-camera sound in Sony in editing, for example? I am to start with I have, this is not a brag, just to let you know, I have a bachelor's degree in audio engineering and sound design. So I'm actually from the background of audio, not video. So if you're asking me if it matters with a microphone and what you should focus on, yeah, buy something that has really good audio. I can only recommend that one I have right now. It's Rode Video Mic Pro. There are some more new versions of that. This is not a budget microphone at all, but it has more exclusive variations of it that I'm looking into myself as well. But I've had this microphone now for about 2 years or something. And if you think my YouTube videos sound good, then you can use that one. And it's not overly expensive either. And for a lot of people asking always in my videos, like what these things are for, these things are actually called dead cats. And they are there to stop the wind, or at least as much as possible. Because when the wind is hitting the microphone, it sounds horrible, and that takes away a bit of it at least. But that's one of my biggest recommendations when people are starting to talk gear with me, because I think, of course you should, if you want to have a good camera and a good lens and everything, but if you're going to improve something on your setup to make a better quality, you should go for actually improving the audio. Funny story that I did a research paper when I was going to the university. And I did a research about how people perceive video depending on what kind of audio source they're hearing. So I did a blind test of, I produced 10 versions of the same video. And then I told the audience that now you're here to watch a video quality 7H, how do you say that? It's hard to translate. You see, I have a hard time with English sometimes as well. But they were there to have a blind test, and they were there to evaluate the video quality. That's what I told them. But the trick was that the videos looked exactly the same. There was the same settings, same export and everything. So the video quality was exactly the same. What I did, I tweaked the audio so it sounded a bit better, and I tweaked the audio to sound a bit worse in some videos. So I knew which one were the best sounding ones that I really put some work into. But they thought they were looking at audio or video. And I think 98% of them or something, that all of them I tried it on, said that, version 7 or whatever it was, that one looked amazing. It was such a crispy image and it looked so sharp, everything. But the fun thing is, the video was exactly the same, but the audio was way better. So people are not thinking about that a lot. And yeah, so really do put some time into making high quality audio, because a lot of people are more sensitive to audio than it is to actually video. Because if it's the video is a bit not the crispiest that it can be, that's fine. Because if you have a good story and good audio, people will still be there. That's my point of view, at least. I'm just reading the chat. Oh, yeah. The chat a bit. Okay, you're talking about the price. Thanks, Patrick. Okay, those some different things. Audio is key, exactly. Now we're starting to get it. Let's see, go over to my points. Yeah, we're actually talking about sound design, so we can take that up at the same time. The video you really couldn't watch in the beginning, but maybe a sweet person here, or maybe someone from Scandinavian can link it in the chat later. One of my videos on YouTube is called The Mythical of Swedish Midsummer or something, the one you watched in the beginning of my lecture. And the funny thing about that one, if you look at the video and actually listen to it, none of the audio clips or everything that is making a noise in the video is actually faked and put on afterwards. Everything from birds flying over to me rowing the boat, you know, when stuff are, we say knakar in Swedish, like not rumbling, but like, yeah, the boat is making some noises and the oars are making some noises and there's some water splashes around under the boat. Like all of those are fake that I have recorded afterwards or downloaded from say Epidemic Sound or something. So, oh, Dennis Johansson was kind enough to link the film, and Patrick Hughes as well. Thank you guys, it's so helpful. So go back and listen to that one after election and just see like none of the audio files in there are actually real. Everything is fake. And that's what you need to do sometimes, because the whole video when I was filming that, there was a lot of sounds in the background. There was people singing at midsummer, and I can't have that in my YouTube video because that's going to be copyright striked. So everything is done afterwards, and that's, you have no idea how much time I spent to that. If you look at the end of the video, you'll see my good friend Stefan. He's a fire artist, and he does this amazing performance with his like staff and a lot of fire. And all of that audio is also fake, you know, that like, and that a bit of a flame twist to it. So it sounds that it's actually flaming. All of those moments are also faked and added on afterwards. So go look at that one, and then, yeah, you will understand how much work it could go into a YouTube video if you really dig deep. Okay, then we do Olivia's question. Let's see. How do you build up the confidence to be in your own videos? And do you prefer filming yourself over filming others? I like both, actually. When I'm filming myself, I have more control of what is going on. But at the same time, I really, really enjoy, like in the Midsummer video, just being in the background, just capturing stuff that is there. Because I think it's important to film both things. Because if you just have yourself, that's going to be a bit too egocentric, maybe. And filming others might be a good mix to throw in there. Just always remember to ask people, like be gentle about that and ask in a good way, like, is it okay if I film? Don't make a big statement out of it, like, everyone, I'm going to film now. Don't do that, because people get super scared. Just tell them that I'm going to record a bit, and if you don't want to be in it, just move a bit to the side, or you can just tell me afterwards and can edit it out. But yeah, it was a hard time in the beginning being in front of the camera, especially when I switched over to English because I was so insecure. So yeah, it's just a matter of repeating it and doing and trying and failing and succeeding and failing. Just keep at it. It's the same with everything. If I'm learning to play guitar, if I'm learning the camera, I just need to do it a lot to get better at it. And if you think I'm good at talking in front of the camera, you have no idea how many hours I spent also failing. Like there is like, if I have a talk in my videos that is maybe, I don't know, 15 seconds, then it's probably 5 minutes of recorded content that is there behind that I just taken out. So it might sound really good on YouTube, but the reality is there's a lot of tries and it's a lot of errors. And sometimes I also add the bloopers in the videos because that's me, makes me feel like a more real person, because I don't like to have that much of a polished video. People need to understand that I'm failing too. I think that's really important. Okay, we jump over to the next one. Let's see. What kind of light do you recommend? And the only one I have is this one, and that's the Nanlite Forza 60B. I told you I don't have anything else. So that's the only one I can recommend, actually. Hope that's okay of an answer. And just know that if I'm not answering your question here right now, you can always jump over to my Instagram and ask me in a DM. I will try to help you out. Maybe Dennis can be sweet and link that too. Let's see. Scandinavian Photos writing. Susanne is coming in as answers some questions before we round up. So, okay, perfect. I'll just take one more question, Susanne. Then you can jump in if you want to. At least one or two more. Okay, good. Then I have it under control. Ellen is asking, are you planning to coaching to help others to build a successful YouTube channel? I'm starting to build courses in that area, but it's taking a lot of time. The problem with that is sometimes that when I do, I still need an income, because if I make a course, that's going to take weeks and months, and then I have to take time off YouTube, but that means I'm also losing my salary from YouTube. So I need to juggle a lot of balls at the same time. So that's a bit tricky, but I would love to do courses in making YouTube channels and being creative in that way. So yeah, but I do a lot of videos on my Patreon where I talk a bit more about filmmaking, and I do a lot of live streams on my channel. So if you want to jump over there, I'm teaching for free as well. Let's see. Well, this is a tricky one, but maybe I should challenge myself with that one. We'll take a gear thing first from T-Men Bower. What kind of extra gear do you use? Tripod, mic, gimbal, etc. That's a good one. I use a tripod that is on my camera right now, so I can't really show you, but it's a Manfrotto, or how you pronounce it. I don't know the actual name of it, but I didn't use the tripod for the first year on YouTube. So I balanced everything on like crates or like the couch or the table, and it was really inconvenient because I had to adjust to the height of what the object I had closest to me. So I use a tripod. The mic I told you about before, Rode Video Mic Pro. I also use a gimbal from Sayun that is called Crane Lab 3. I think it's so many technical terms, but I only use a gimbal when I really need to make some active movements. But I would say 95% of my shots at home in the cabin is just handheld with the camera, because the stabilization in these cameras and the lenses are so enormously good. And then you can also add some stabilization in the software as well. So yeah, that's the extra thing I use. And then this mic, as I told you before, for voiceover and stuff. The lighting is fresh and new. I think that's all I'm using, actually. Yeah, that's most of the stuff I use, at least. And then we'll take the difficult one from Tobias Braun. What are the top 5 tips when it comes to storytelling? Ooh, that's tricky. I would say first one would be to, it sounds really simple, but have a beginning, middle, and an end. That's a really important thing. Just have a conclusive story. Don't just leave it hanging, and don't tell too much. Tease a bit during the video. My other would be to actually have, what do you call that? A hook in the beginning of a video. I usually do that. I have some sort of teaser before the actual video starts, so people are getting dragged into the story. That is really important. So people are just, because you have like 5 to 10 seconds before people might leave your video. So you need to make a decision, or you need to tell them that it's worth staying and watching the video. So that is a very important thing. And I told you about planning the shots. That's maybe not storytelling. I also, when it comes to storytelling, I want to add one tip at least, that is add silence. Like, don't always talk continuously without pausing. Add some drone shots, or if you just have a landscape video or whatever, add some breathing areas into that, because if you have something going constantly, it's quite stressed to watch. And I know it's bad for attention span when it comes to YouTube, because you want to keep people occupied so they're staying in the video. But the problem is that you don't let people breathe. But that's also depending on what kind of video you're making. If your goal is to keep people to watch the whole video through the whole thing, and that's really rare, then you maybe need to have a higher tempo. That's the best answer I can give to that at the moment, at least. Storytelling is something you can have a whole lecture about, so it's a bit tricky to just like dive into it like this lightly. Should we do a few more questions before we let Susanne back and answer some, not answer, but ask some questions, and then so we can wrap it up. Let's see. Let's see, we take Lina's question. What was the most challenging for you in the beginning of your YouTube channel? Getting my videos watched, actually. I made like what I thought was really good videos. It may sound egocentric, but I really thought so, and I still do. But my problem was that I didn't get people to watch it. I still had like a couple of thousand people on Instagram that watched them and stuff like that. But the challenge is that making videos is not like, that's half the video, or half the job on YouTube is actually creating the video. The other half is getting people to see it. So that's the tricky part of beginning a YouTube channel, getting views and actually staying with it. Because not all people might have that like rocket trajectory that I had. They're getting so many views in a short amount of time. So yeah, getting my YouTube video seen in the beginning was a bit hard, and it was challenging uploading a video, having just a couple of views. And when I did live streams, it was like 3 people there, and maybe 1, if I were lucky, was answering or asking a question. Otherwise, I had my sister or my mom or Christina just asking a question for me. So the chat will be a bit more active. That's the reality. We should take one more question, and then we hand it over to Susanne so we can do some wrap up once. Okay, we take one from my friend Julia O'Donovan. How did blogging help you develop your storytelling skills pre-YouTube? Storytelling skills, it made me create a language, like find how to put words on things. I love writing, and I always taking notes, and I used to be more active in my journal as well, but I like to take notes and be active in that way. And I think the blogging helped me a lot in like finding the words that I wanted to have in my stories, because without the right and correct words for it, it was really tricky to do voiceover and talk to the camera. So I think I've developed a really good language. Even though the blog was in Swedish, I still learned how to, in Sweden we say måla med orden, like paint with your words. So that helped me in that sense, I think. Okay, Susanne, you're more than welcome back, and to ask me some questions if you felt like it.
Thank you so much, Kalle. And wow, this has been amazing and interesting to listen to you. And honestly, I don't have so many questions because of all the brilliant viewer questions. So sadly, time is up. We could have listened to you, I think, rest of the evening. But yeah, I want to thank you very much. And if everyone will receive an email from us tomorrow, and you can also watch this video again on YouTube. And if you have any questions about the products that were mentioned today, or any other products, please feel free to contact us at info@scandinavianphoto.se, or depending on which country you're in, the ending might differ. But yeah, please don't hesitate to contact us. And Kalle, I hope to meet you soon again.
Yeah, I'll come by the store one day and say hi.
Please do. You're always welcome, just like everyone who's participating.
Thank you for watching, guys.
Thank you, everyone. Have a very nice evening.
Bye bye, guys.